podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks on Sunday, August 14th, 2022. This is episode 1918. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Unify Meeting from Mimo Monitors. Unify simplifies your work life by combining your favorite video conferencing solutions into one reliable, universal user interface. Visit unifymeeting.com and enter the code TechGuy for 25% off a year's subscription, or use the same code and get 25% off any of Mimo's 7-inch displays. And by CashFly. Deliver your video on the network with the best throughput and global reach, making your content infinitely scalable. Go live in hours, not days. Learn more at cashfly.com. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smartwatches, augmented reality, NFTs, anything on your mind. 8888 Ask Leo is my phone number. 888-827-5536. That's toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. 8888 Ask Leo. Outside that area, you could still use the number, but you'll have to use Skype out or something like that. 8888 Ask Leo. Website. Good to know. In case you hear something, you go, what was that? Well, we put it all there. All you have to do is go to techguylabs.com. And that's free. There's no sign up, nothing. Just go, visit, say hello. techguylabs.com. You know what would really change the world? Here's from the Annals of Science. Are you ready from science? If we could figure out how to create power the same way the sun creates power, not nuclear fission, that's the stuff that atomic bombs and nuclear power plants these days are made of, and of course that's a dirty technology somewhat. Creates a nuclear waste that is dangerous to humans and other living things. Nuclear fusion is what the sun does. It takes hydrogen, of which there is a plentitude, fuses a few of them together, heavy hydrogen, and forms helium, which, just floats up into the sky. Actually, we need helium. We're running low. Too many balloons, apparently. So, wouldn't it be cool if scientists could figure out how to create nuclear fusion? It would, if you could do it, it would effectively make power free and pollution free, widely available. No more digging up old dinosaurs. It would be a transformational thing. Well, they've made a very critical step. Researchers at Lawrence Livermore National Labs National Ignition Facility, just up the road a piece. The National Ignition Facility, which is best known for igniting bombs. I think they got the name, the NIF, when they were blowing things up. But they also ignited the first fusion reaction a year ago, but they have now published the results in 3 peer-reviewed papers. Now, this isn't the step to cold fusion, which everybody talks about, where we could actually use this, but it is a first step, a critical first step to creating a fusion reactor. Ignition during a fusion reaction means that the reaction produced enough energy to be self-sustaining. We've known how to make a fusion reaction to start it with a lot of energy and get a little out, but that's not going to produce anything of value. That's going to just use up energy. But they've now done it in such a way. I think it was they fired 100 megajoules. No. I don't know what. They fired a little bit of I don't know what they shot at it. A little bit of energy. And they got 1.3 megajoules. Now, it was only lasted for, a nanosecond. But just so you know, a megajoule is a non-trivial amount of energy. 1 megajoule is the kinetic energy of a ton mass moving at 100 miles an hour. Imagine a ton of something like a, small vehicle traveling at 100 miles an hour hitting you. That's a lot. That's a lot of energy. So this is huge. This is a big first step, not the only step, but the big first step in creating fusion. Wouldn't that be amazing if sometime in our lifetime we could solve that, and just energy would be plentiful and effectively free because there's plenty of hydrogen, and pollution free too. Oh, that'd be so cool. We can dream. So from the annals of science, ignition. Now we just need liftoff. Big story. Q2. Remember last week we were talking a lot about quarterly results from all the big tech companies, and a mix of results based. A lot of problems from a variety of sources, not just supply chain problems, but inflation, recession, currency fluctuation, things like that. But one of the things now we've seen from the top 7 U.S. cable companies, a first in the quarter ending in June, April, May, June, they lost broadband customers in that quarter. This is, for years, it's always been up, more and more customers for cable broadband. For the first time ever last quarter, a negative growth. Partly because Comcast, which is the number 1 internet service provider and cable company, was flat. No growth. Charter, number 2, lost 21,000 customers. Altice, number 3, 39,000 customers. So for the first time, anyone can remember, cable operators lost market share in internet service. Don't worry too much about them. They're still 69.6% of all internet service providers. They're still pretty dominant. But you know what? I don't think anybody is going to sigh and say, oh, too bad for the cable operator. Are they? I don't know. I don't think anybody's going to go, oh, poor little cable operators. Google's going to pay a fine to Australia. I'm just giving you some of the top stories of the week. You understand? Just to give us something to talk about. Google paying this is a pittance. For me, it'd be a lot of money. For Google, it's not so much. Over collecting data from Android phones, because Google has said, and they say it here too, that, you just turn off this switch that says, don't collect any location data and we'll stop. And they don't. So the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission, accused Google of making misleading representations to consumers about this and fined them, a whopping 60 million Australian dollars, which is about 43 million in real money. That's I don't know. Somebody should do the calculation, but I think Google, that's probably less than 10 minutes profit for Google. I don't think it's not going to break the bank. So, but you know what? Any kind of spanking like this, they pay attention. Maybe you shouldn't have done it, Google. You should have said, well, you can turn off location services, but we're going to still know where you are. And we're going to keep track of that. Let's see. The U.S. has approved a plan. So Google has, Gmail has spam, anti-spam, right? Pretty good anti-spam. There's a problem. It sometimes catches email from political candidates, and that you should not do. That's protected speech, fundraising, and, wrong, not spam. But that's a hard thing for any automated system to say, well, that kind of looks like spam. So the Federal Elections Commission has approved a pilot program to test a new Gmail feature that authorized candidate committees, political party committees, PACs can use to say, this is not spam. This is not spam. The Google wanted permission to do this after Republicans accused them of giving Democrats an edge. So they're gonna give them, I don't know, some sort of key, some button they can push that says, no, this is not spam. It might look like spam, It isn't spam. So this is good. And this is all because we got an election coming up. You knew that, right? We got the primaries going on right now, but there's a big one coming up in November. So this is good. And finally, NASA is sending an iPad to the moon. Wow. This seems to me, somebody paid for this. I'm going to think. The Space Launch System, Artemis 1, is about to launch. When is that going to launch, John? They haven't announced it yet, but it's like this month, right? Sometime soon. They're basically trying to prove that the rocket and the spacecraft can put people on the way to the moon. So they're going to send an uncrewed spacecraft, the Orion spacecraft, to the moon. But inside Orion will be something extra special. An iPad with Amazon's Echo. Because somebody paid for this. There's no way NASA thought this would be a good... Oh, we can't send astronauts to the moon without Alexa. They got to bring Alexa with her. So, yeah, they're going to bring Amazon's Echo technology. Oh, and WebEx by Cisco. Okay, now I know somebody paid for this. Howard who? Howard who? Deputy Orion Program Manager. I almost read Onion, but it says Orion. Yes? Yeah. Deputy Orion Program Manager at NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston says, I can imagine a future where astronauts can access information on flight status and telemetry through simple voice commands. Alexa, how hot is it going to be today on the moon? This, somebody paid for this. Apple, Cisco, Amazon. Oh yeah, here it is in the NASA blog post. The industry-funded payload. Yeah. No, astronauts are not saying, how do I know what to wear today if I don't have my Amazon Echo to tell me? They're not saying that. It's an industry-funded payload. So now Amazon can say, see, Alexa's on the moon. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. Let's talk high-tech, you and me. Hello, Sammy.
Hello, Leo. How are you today?
How are you, my friend?
I am doing well.
Good.
I got back from a trip to North Carolina this week. I was hoping, I'm going to have enough miles to hit platinum status for next year.
Oh.
$7 short.
Oh. Well,
because now it's not just the miles you travel, but how many dollars are spent on the airline.
You gotta go on a little trip.
Well, I got another one coming up at the end of the month. I'm going to
puddle jump into Green Bay or something, and then you get.
Well, I'm going to Santa Barbara for a couple of days at the end of August to drive the new Lexus RX. So,
ooh, is that electrical?
No, it's going to be hybrid.
Oh.
The electric Lexus is called the RZ, and that's going to be coming up a little bit later in the fall, I think.
Yeah.
But I was down in Asheville, driving around in the new Hyundai Palisade and the Ioniq 5. That's the first time I've been there.
It's beautiful country.
It is. Yeah, I was driving up the Blue Ridge Parkway. It was
have some hush
fabulous.
puppies.
Yeah.
I always focus on the food. That's, Good. Well, we will talk soon.
Yep. Okay. I'll be here.
10 minutes. All right.
I'm just editing wheel bearings.
Edit your wheel bearings. Bom, bom, bom. I don't see disc first aid. I think I have to do it in disc utility, right? All right. Disc utility. Okay. There's the disc. And I should do repair, right? Yeah, there's first aid. I see it. All right, first aid. First aid, do it, baby. Do the first aid. Well, that was fast. Didn't do nothing. All right, everything's fine. Let's do it to the container. Aww. Running first aid on container. Oh no. This may take Lasts for several minutes or hours. It's going through all the snapshots. Oy, 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 oy. Well, wrong volume. Well, I'm going to run it all a bit by bit. So first I did it on the top level, and then I'm going to do it in the container, then I'm going to do it on the HD. Got to do it everywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, Kim Candy Girl Schaffer is here. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I wouldn't dare call you that. Do you have a small animal in your lap?
I do. It's my lap warmer.
Oh, isn't he cute? Or she?
This is Sadie. She's
Hi,
been
Sadie.
here
Oh,
before.
I've met Sadie. Yeah. Sadie is a limp blanket. She just wants to sit there and
Yeah. But she barks at John, so if I keep her on my lap, she kind of calms
barking
down
at
a
me.
little.
And as long as she doesn't bark at our callers. Kim is our phone angel. She's the one who answers the calls. Your calls for help at 8880. Did you see we have a I have a new button. And we have a QR code.
Yeah, it's a little creepy. It's floating around the screen.
It is a little creepy QR code. John made this up. So if you're watching a video of this radio show,
it works.
It does work.
Yeah, you tried it yesterday.
Yeah, it's kind of cool because you point your phone at it, and at least on my iPhone, it will pop a phone number immediately in your camera app. You tap it, and it calls.
Hit dial.
And then I called you. Should I try it on my Pixel, on my Android phone? Let's see if it works.
You'll probably get a busy signal, but you should.
I'm going to fly in. Let's fly in.
Zoom in.
Zoom in. Oh, yeah. Now, on the Android, it doesn't show the 1. It just shows the 888, maybe because it knows I don't need it. And see if I call. Oh, I have to press extra buttons to call. Calling. With Direct My Call, your Google Assistant transcribes your call to toll-free numbers. Oh,
yep.
Busy. Busy. I guess that means I should talk to somebody instead of playing with my QR code.
You should. David in Orange County, he's having some trouble with his Android Auto. So, and if you can't fix it, maybe Sam's
can. Around already. He's here. He's getting ready for his appearance on the radio. Okay, good. Thank you, Kim.
You're welcome.
Hello, David. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Leo.
Oh, David.
I'm one of these old timers that holds on to things forever, and I've had really good success with my Samsung S6.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a couple of weeks ago, the Android Auto quit working and says it's not supported, and there's no update.
What version of Android does that S6 have on it? Is it pretty old?
What kind of what?
Android version. Is it Android... What? Do you know off the top of your head? You may not know that.
No, I don't. I looked up the latest updates, which was 2018, and there's nothing new since then.
It's weird, though, that the car, which doesn't get updates, would suddenly say, well, I don't know. Why would the car do that?
Even if I hold the phone outside of the car and hit Android Auto, it says it's not supported anymore.
Huh. Well, it'd probably be good time to get a new phone. Do you want to, or you really want this S6?
This thing's gone through the washing machine for a couple of minutes, and it still continues to work. I mean, it's such a good phone.
All right, I'm going to make a case, though. I'm going to make the case for why you should get a new one. Are you ready? Besides this obvious case, it's out of date, so it's insecure. It's not getting the latest software patches. So as good, and you know what? The S6 was a fine phone. But phones these days are designed not to really be used for more than 2 or 3 years. And with Android especially, they don't update it after a period of time. So that's why I was asking what version of Android. You are probably a pretty out of date right now. And so I
love the feature of the headphone jack. All the new phones seem to.
Oh, yeah. I don't blame you.
And I use that every day on my watch.
This makes me so angry. So angry because there really is no reason to take the headphone jack out. That's just dumb. That's just petty, greedy. There are modern phones that still have the headphone jack. I think the Pixel 5a has a headphone jack. I believe there are few. With Android, though, really is the case that an old phone. It's kind of like using Windows XP. An old phone, it could be risky for you because you just don't have the patches, and there are exploits out there. But since you don't want to do this, let's see if we can figure out a way. it's probably the case Android Auto will not. It's so strange. The car didn't get updated. The phone just decided not to do it, I guess. Because the car...
Right. When I went to Verizon, they said that, Android Auto isn't supported by older phones.
Yeah. But it was before, or no?
It was.
It was.
Yeah, so it was until a couple of weeks ago. I've been using it.
That's what's weird. Maybe the Bluetooth... I'll ask... You know what? Sam's coming up in a minute. I'm going to ask Sam, see if he knows. You still should be able to Bluetooth pair it and use it as an audio source. It's just you don't get the Android Auto. But there may be a fix. Let's ask Sam. Car Guy coming up. So the chat room is saying this is a recent change by Google, according to Aaron.
Yeah. Hey, Leo?
Yeah.
Am I live?
Yeah.
Okay. Is the caller still on?
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
So, question for you: Are you using Android Auto on your phone screen or in the car, on projecting to the screen?
Oh,
in the car?
you're using it on the phone.
No, I'm using it in the car.
Oh, yeah, but you're using a screen in the car that shows up.
Right, my
Okay.
infotainment screen.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Because it's
Yeah,
true,
that-
they did take the Android Auto
Yeah.
app out of Android. I remember that. Yeah.
Right. That was my question.
Yeah.
Even though what kind of car do you have?
It's a Honda Civic, a 2019.
Let's see.
Honda. I seem to remember issues with Honda and CarPlay.
Well, we've got
and Android
a
Auto.
2017 Civic that has the same infotainment system in it,
And it works.
and it works fine.
Okay.
But my wife is also using a current generation Pixel 6.
Right.
It's possible, even though the car has not been updated, and I know they haven't been updated, that there's just some security things in there, and Android or Google has decided to disable older versions of Android Auto.
Google has silently updated the system requirements for Android Auto. This is from autoevolution.com to state that users need at least Android 8 to run the app. And you'll get that message that you're seeing, David. Phone system is too old. App needs Android upgrade soon.
But it won't allow me to update.
Yeah, so previously 6.0 was supported for wired auto, Android Auto. But now they're saying 8 is required.
I mean, if you wanted to root and ROM the phone,
that's
you
a
could
good
probably
idea.
find a newer version of Android.
Yeah, root and ROM it.
That's a non-trivial thing to do if you're not.
How comfortable do you feel doing that?
What is that? Root and
So you can put a newer version of the operating system on it without Google's help. And if you go to a forum called xda-developers.com, xda-developers.com, and search for your Samsung S6. You need to get the exact version of it, by the way. So you get that version number from the About This Phone. But if you get that exact version number and search the forums for that, there'll be a forum for that model that explains how you can, and it's a little tricky sometimes with the older Samsung phones. They have this triangle thing they do. But you might be able to put a new, more modern firmware on it.
Looks like you can get an Android 11 ROM that'll run on the S6.
Nice. then that'll fix this probably, and it'll make your good news your S6 secure again.
Oh, nice.
But it's kind of a geeky thing to do. You need to plug it into a computer with a USB cable and follow the instructions very carefully on the forums, because if you do it wrong, you can brick the phone. But if you do it right, now you can play with the phone. Could I
do it from an iPad?
No, you need to do it from usually from a Windows machine. You can't do it from an iPad.
You can do it from a Mac. Right. I've done it from a Mac in the past.
Yeah, you need special, a little more software to do it on a Mac. So
okay,
it's doable though. Root and ROM. Just go to xda-developers.com and find your model of phone, and they will be pinned at the top, at the very top of the page. There'll be a explanation of what you need to do. Thanks, David. We got to do Sam now. Sam time. By the way, First Day did not fix this computer. Our show today brought to you by Mimo monitors and Unify Meeting. You know Mimo. I know Mimo. I've had Mimo monitors before. These are great extra monitors you plug into USB or another port and have a second monitor on your laptop or your desktop. They have little 7-inch monitors, perfect, for instance, for conference calls. And that's where Unify Meeting comes in. Mimo Monitors is the global expert in video conferencing solutions. And this Unify is exactly what you want. Now, here's the scenario. And this happens to us all the time. We use video meetings all the time. And sometimes it's Zoom, but sometimes we use Google Meet. Sometimes it's Microsoft Teams. I had a Teams call just the other day. That means you have to load a different program, make sure it's up to date, got a different user interface. You got to remember, I don't click. In fact, every time I start a Google Meet, at the very beginning, I hang up by accident because on Google Meet, the hang-up key is where the mic mute key is on Zoom. So I'm trying to unmute my microphone, and I hang up on the call. And everybody on our staff meetings knows Leah's going to call. He's going to call in. He's going to show up, and he's going to disappear for a minute. He's going to come back. He's going to be a little bit red on the forehead where he slapped himself. Unify is the solution. It simplifies your work life by combining all of your favorite video conferencing solutions, Zoom, Teams, Meet, into one reliable user interface. Same interface for all of them. That's why it's called Unify Meeting. It's your intuitive software solution to simplify your work life by combining all your favorite video conferencing solutions into a single, reliable, universal interface, which eliminates the hassle, saves you time. All you have to know is I got a meeting, click the button, and go. And since we're all spending so much time on meetings these days, this is a huge, huge benefit. And it's reliable every time as the buttons and commands always in the same place, no matter what you're using. It's great for working in the office, remotely, hybrid. It makes video conferencing something we're spending a lot more time every day now, right, doing, so much easier. You can navigate between meetings on different systems easily. You have to keep track of changing video conferencing apps or changing commands. And by the way, it's always on your desktop. It's always displaying your calendar so you know when your next meeting is. And when it's time for a meeting, you tap the calendar invite. You don't have to know which software. It just runs. It opens a video conference call in its standardized format. I think this is just brilliant. I wish we'd had this for the last 2 years. Unify works best on a second or third display. That's where Mimo Monitors comes in. They have great little monitors. You can make your permanent, Unify Meeting monitor. So you always see your calendar there, and then when you're in a meeting, boom, you're gone. You're good. You're doing it. It takes up less desk real estate, but provides you with enhanced convenience. And for added accessibility, you can see the video conference application's original UI on the primary screen in case you want to do a setting, that's unique to that program. So you get the best of both worlds. Unify runs on Windows. It's PC compatible, only costs $35.88 for a year. They could charge a lot more for this convenience, tell me. And with a purchase of any Mimo monitors display, it's free. So maybe that's the thing to do is just go, that's what I did. I bought a little 7-inch monitor. That's my meeting monitor. Try Unify for your team at work or for yourself at unifymeeting.com, UNIFYMEETING.com. Enter the code TechGuy there. You'll get 25% off a year's subscription. Or with the same code, TechGuy, 25% off any of Mimo's 7-inch displays. That's what I did. Simplify with Unify. I think it's such a great idea, and we thank Unify Meeting for supporting the Tech Guy. You support us when you use that special offer code. You'll get 25% off either a year of Unify Meeting or one of Mimo's 7-inch displays when you go to unifymeeting.com and use the offer code TechGuy. Isn't that cool? Thank you, Mimo Monitors. Thank you, Unify. UnifyMeeting.com. Now back to the show. Let's go low riding with our good buddy Sam Abuelsamid, principal researcher at Guidehouse Insights, host of the Wheel Bearings podcast at wheelbearings.media, joins us every week to talk about cars. Real quickly, we talked off the air. You talked off the air to David. And it turns out Google changed the specs for Android Auto. It wasn't the Honda. It was Google. Google says now you have to have Android version 8 or more recent to use Android Auto. He has a phone that won't go past whatever it is, Android 6 or 7. So he needs to, and this was good advice from you, Sam, root and ROM.
Well, I don't know if it was necessarily good advice. It was advice.
It's if you want to keep using a really old Android phone, it is so insecure. Plus, you lose features. And this is Google. They didn't have to do that. This is them nudging you into the future.
Well, I don't know that I wouldn't necessarily totally agree with that. There are probably changes in Google Play services and other aspects of Android that prevent, they're designed to improve security in there. And, part of Android Auto, and the same also applies to CarPlay, is authenticating the phone to the infotainment system in the car, because what you don't want is any device that you've connected to your car to be able to potentially inject some malware into your vehicle or do anything else unsafe to the vehicle. So there are valid reasons for doing this.
Yeah, that's reasonable, and it is connected via a wire to his car. So that could be So root and ROM simply means, and we told David this: go to a website to find out how to get root access to your phone, and then once you do, you can change the firmware to something more up to date. Google does not neither approves nor prevents this. Samsung may. Some manufacturers do, and Samsung has in the past. But the forums at xda-developers.com should have instructions on how to do that. Now, Sam, I see you're trying to drive with your rear view mirror again. This is unsafe.
It's just not as much fun looking through the windshield.
What are you doing here?
Challenging.
What's going on?
No, this is a picture of a GM vehicle with the OnStar buttons that are on the mirror. And since GM was the first automaker to launch a telematics system in the vehicle. So having a cellular radio in the car that could communicate with various services outside of the car. And their system is called OnStar. Other manufacturers have their own branding for this, but pretty much everybody has this, and it's available or standard on most new cars today. So having a cellular radio, and they've gone from those original GM OnStar systems were using analog 1G cellular systems. They went to 2G, 3G, and we've talked recently, a few months back, I think, about some of the vehicles that have 3G radios in them now that are going to lose their connectivity as the 3G networks are shut down. GM's been installing 4G LTE in their vehicles, and most others have since about 2014, 2015 timeframe. But this week, and CR1 in the chat room asked about this, so I decided to talk about it. This week, an announcement came out of GM that starting with 2023 model year cars, which are the ones that they're selling now, starting to take orders for now, customers that buy either a Cadillac, GMC, or Buick model will be required to pay for a 3-year subscription to OnStar's premium service, which is a $1,500 option. In the past, when you bought a new GM vehicle for the last several years, they typically give you a 3-year trial period of their most basic service. And one of the reasons why they've done this is when they started off, they were doing 3-month trial periods. And the number of people that actually converted to paying customers after that 3-month trial period was pretty low. It was usually, less than 10%. They started doing 3-year trial periods a few years ago, and that conversion rate is now somewhere in the 30 to 40% range. And if you don't sign up for a paid subscription after the trial period, the radio gets turned off, and basically the automaker loses access to the vehicle to be able to get things like diagnostic information and vehicle health data from the vehicle. And so everybody wants to keep that radio on, that cellular radio turned on, so that they can get that. And they also collect a variety of telemetry information about how vehicles are being used. And that gets fed into their product development process, so that, they want to understand, how far are people actually driving? For EVs, when are they charging them? How are they charging them? Because that helps them understand, okay, what level of DC fast charging do we need to build into vehicles? How big a battery do we really need for the way people are actually driving? So there's some valid reasons for having that. But this is a little more dubious. To me, I talked to somebody from GM this week, and they said, it's all about trying to provide an improved, more seamless onboarding experience for customers, so that it'll all be automatically enabled. You have to pay for the subscription. It's all going to be turned on when you buy the car. That seems like a dubious proposition.
They're following a trend in the industry, right? Mm-hmm. Where it used to be they would put a blank button on a feature that you didn't buy in the car. Mm-hmm. Now, Audi's been doing this. BMW's done it for a while. Now they put all the buttons in, but when you press it, it says, "Oh, you haven't paid for that feature. Would you like to now?" All
right.
That's a trend.
Yeah, well, and GM's taking it a step further, and they're just saying, "Yeah, when you buy this vehicle, you're going to pay for it, like it or not. Whether
you
want
have
this feature
to
or not. You have to pay for it. It's no longer an option."
So really, this is like restaurants now, and a lot of them are doing this, who basically build the tip into the bill, or they add a surcharge.
Automatically adding a tip. Yeah. It's
so
the same.
They don't want to raise prices.
A not so hidden price increase.
Yeah. Interesting. How much is it?
$1,500 for 3 years, which is a slight discount. I mean, that premium service plan is usually $49 a month. So this actually works out to about $41 a month. So you do get a slight savings, but still, it's an extra $1,500 that maybe you weren't planning on spending.
That's how much more your car costs than the sticker price. Yeah.
Yes.
Which is a little annoying. And so they said it was optional, but now they're forcing you to buy it.
Yeah, it was optional up until the 2023 model year, and now it's mandatory.
And by the way, most people have cell phones.
Chevrolet vehicles.
Many people really don't need OnStar. I mean, it's not necessarily a feature you need, is it?
Well, particularly if you have an electric vehicle, having the connectivity is actually really valuable. And there's a lot
so it's
of things
more
you
than
get
just
with the
OnStar.
built-in.
It's also just full-time internet on the vehicle.
Yeah. Having that connectivity to get software updates, especially now as we're moving to vehicles that have OTA update capabilities. Yeah. Being able to having that turned on so you can get those updates. There's a lot of other features, like for example, in this premium plan, if you have teenage drivers in the house, you can geofence where they're allowed to drive. So you can set a geofence, and if they go outside of that geofence, you will automatically be alerted. If they go over a certain speed, you will automatically get alerts. There's the vehicle health reports. There's a wide variety of things that you get. Remote locking and unlocking, managing the charging of your EV from an app, that sort of thing is all enabled through this connectivity.
Very interesting. This is a trend. This is,
I expect everybody's going to do this in the next couple of years.
I wish they would just put it in the sticker price. Mm-hmm. As long as they don't make me pay for Sirius XM. I don't want that. Sam and Bull Samad, listen to Wheel Bearings. I'm sure they'll be talking about it. Wheelbearings.media or wherever you get your podcasts. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
See ya.
That's very annoying. I must say, it's very annoying.
It is, and I would understand it a little better if they were requiring you to, pay, get one of the lower cost tiers, but they're going for the highest tier.
Oh, wow.
On these vehicles. So I mean, there are tiers that are like $15 or $20 a month, and you could maybe make that case. But really, what this is all about is, for the financial markets, that everybody's looking for recurring revenue streams.
Yeah.
Back at their investor day last fall, GM CEO Mary Barra talked about GM doubling its revenues by 2030, in part through connected and software services. And this is one step in that direction. Adding an extra $1,500, and I think they hope that at the end of that 3-year period that you like it so much that you keep paying for it. But to me, not allowing it to be optional just does not seem right.
Doesn't sit well.
Yeah.
ARPU. It's all about ARPU.
You bet.
The whole industry.
ARPU every day.
And you really can blame Wall Street because they're the ones who think this is a good thing.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Twisted Mister in the chat, mentions, I think BMW charges $10 a month for connected drive. And I think that's again for BMW's most basic plan. They have pretty much every automaker's got multiple different tiers of service with different functionality in there. I don't think BMW's cheapest one is $10 a month. I think it's higher than that. Most are on the orders of at least $15 to $20 a month. But they're, everybody has paid services, but GM is the first one to make, the premium plan a mandatory requirement on all the vehicles, at least from 3 of their 4 brands, which is too bad. It's a real shame.
Yeah.
Let's see, user 1774, hello Fisker. Not sure what he's talking about there.
You don't have to read every chat message.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Yeah. Table Dash mentions his cousin was in an accident and was unconscious, and OnStar called 911.
See, there's a real reason for it. That's a very
this is one of the great features. And this is something that, again, GM was first to do this because they were the first to introduce OnStar in 1996.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those headline features when they launched it back then, and that everybody's doing now, is automatic 911 assist. So if you get into a crash where your airbags are triggered, what happens is it'll come on you'll on your speakers in the car, and your audio speakers in the car. The OnStar system will ask, "Are you okay? Do you need assistance?" And if you don't respond, or if you respond that you do need assistance, it will automatically call 911 for you. It will send your GPS location to the 911 operator, so that they can come and provide assistance. So if you get into a crash and you lose consciousness or you become incapacitated in some way, then that ability is really valuable for saving lives.
My watch does that, though. I mean, it's not. Nowadays people have other ways to do that. Your phone and your watch. That's true. Yeah.
But your watch doesn't necessarily know if you've been in a car crash. It may or may not trigger. Yeah, well, and again, it's not necessarily as reliable.
Right.
OnStar, or telematics,
because it's getting more information from the vehicle.
They've got access to the vehicle information. It knows exactly how fast that vehicle decelerated. It knows if airbags have activated.
Do you want to stick around for the top?
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Thank you. We'll talk in a bit. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Phone number 8888. Ask Leo if you've got a call, a question, a comment, a suggestion. This thing about GM and OnStar, Sam said an interesting thing, and it really isn't just the auto industry now that this is happening, and this is happening everywhere. This, he says, is a result of Wall Street, the stock market, looking to companies to have a recurring revenue. The term they use is ARPU, average revenue per user. And you're going to start to see this everywhere. Apple, for instance, no longer reports how many iPhones they sold. They don't say. They don't tell the market that. They tell the market what their average revenue per user was. And the market, somehow, they just love that. They love the idea of, no, instead of selling something for once and you get money and that's your revenue, we want you to sell something every month, the same sucker, user, over and over again, and that's that consistent revenue. We like that. So really, this is the financial markets telling companies like GM and Apple and everybody else, think of a way to get a recurring revenue from your users. Don't think of them as customers, one-time only buyers. Think of them as users. And, I guess it's not just Wall Street. You could kind of blame the tech industry for this because they kind of invented it and made it possible, right? If it weren't for easy ways to charge you every month, none of this would be possible. When Henry Ford sold Model Ts, there was no way to say, well, and we're going to charge you a gas usage tax every month. They didn't have a way to do that, but we do now. Sure do. And I think customers are getting a little upset, to be honest. They're not so happy. You're not so happy about it. Because for the same reasons that Wall Street is. Wall Street loves dipping their hands into your pocket every month. You may not like that so much. I don't know what we're going to do about it, but I think what will happen eventually is people just say, no, enough. No more. 8888 ask Leo Travis is next from Rancho Santa Margarita, California. Hi, Travis.
Hey, Leo.
Welcome.
How's it going?
It's great. How are you?
Great, thank you. Got hopefully a simple question for you. Working on starting up a YouTube channel with a buddy of mine, and we're looking to find a microphone to use for videoing and just out and about. We do different quests, or we go different places, do different experiences, kind of show people what it's like.
I love it.
Try to bring some humor to it.
I love it.
But we're trying to find a microphone solution for that, and I don't know if you have any recommendations for something like that.
This is so interesting. This is another thing that technology has brought us that I think is a good thing. Used to be you'd have to go to the Travel Channel or the Food Network and pitch them and say, yeah, and they'd have to have a budget of millions of dollars to do something like this. Now you don't need anything. You need a camera, you need a microphone and YouTube, and you can start your own thing. And you know what? It could be huge. It could be hugely successful. Exactly. My son has 2.1 million followers on TikTok. He doesn't have a cooking show, but he has a larger audience watching his cooking on TikTok than he'd have on the Food Network. It's really kind of interesting. So the first question is how you're going to shoot this. Are you going to do it with just smartphones or?
For starting smartphones, then we'll probably move to a camera if we can get any kind of traction.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously the smartphone has a built-in microphone, but you can also improve that. And one of the things I think that makes it more like a real TV show is having a lapel mic. They call them lavaliers in the business. And so that way you can be the camera operator with the smartphone. You can even be zoomed in, but you could be 50 feet away. Obviously, that's too far for the smartphone microphone. But there are wireless microphones that you can use to make that work. So that, in fact, the one that I use, and I think it's actually pretty good. It's not cheap. It's called they call MicMe, MIKME. But this will give you an idea of what it will do. MIKME.com. They sell a little portable wireless pack that you put on your belt, and it goes to a lapel mic. Actually, you can go to a variety of different kinds of mics. You can even buy, it's a standard connection, so you can buy third-party microphones. And then it connects to the app on your phone 100 feet away. You know, your guy could be down on could be up on the Golden Gate Bridge climbing the cables. Don't try this at home. You could be, on the shore watching this. He's a little speck, but with perfect audio. And MicMe does some really interesting things. I have it, so I kind of know about this. It does some really interesting things. For instance, it has its own storage. So one of the problems is if you're connected via Bluetooth, that's going to be low quality. It's not going to do a great job. But the MicMe will record locally, and then when you get near the phone, it will send the good quality recording over. So you get a kind of initially a bad Bluetooth recording, but at least you know what's going on, and then it will update that after the fact. So that's one to look at, MIKME.com. It's not cheap. Sam, you do this sometimes when you record reviews for us. Sam just did a review of the Rivian versus the Lightning, the Ford F-150 Lightning. And you had a lapel mic, right? What do you use for that?
I just got a cheap lapel mic off of Amazon that I plug into my little Zoom H1N.
So it has a wire going.
It has a wire, yeah. So I tuck it down my shirt and have the recorder in my pocket, and
so that works fine if you're not.
I remember and turn it on.
If you're not on the Golden Gate Bridge, that works fine.
Yeah.
But that's a lot cheaper, by the way, a lot easier way to do it. Rode makes a similar device to the MicMe, the chat room's telling me, the Rode Wireless Go-To dual-channel wireless microphone system. It's $250, but I have to say my experience with wireless microphone systems is not great. Remember the scene in Spinal Tap where the guitarist has a wireless guitar and they're on an Air Force base performing and they're getting air traffic controller. Oh, we got a coming in. That's what happens with inexpensive wireless mics. That's why I like the Mic Me, because it's not relying on the wireless connection. It's actually recording locally, but then the app will sync up with the video, and you really get great video. So the Mic Me is not cheap. Depends on how committed you are to this whole process. But I have it. I've used it. It's about $300. It's not the most expensive thing in the world. And
some friends of mine use that Rode, and they've had really good success with it. It works really well.
The Rode is a little less expensive. The only thing that makes me nervous about the Rode is it's truly wireless, and so if there is interference, if there is noise, we went down to the E3 conference about 10 years ago to record. This was the big video game conference. And we were going. We went over to the G4 Tech TV booth because they were still in business then, and they shooed us away. They said, "Your wireless mics are killing our wireless mics. They're battling. Can you move away, please?" And that's a problem. And I think so. I think my experience. We use very, very expensive Sennheiser wireless mics, but those are thousands of dollars, and they tend to work very well. In fact, they work too well in this case. They blasted G4's cheap mics off the air. So I would look at the Mic Me at $319. I think it's well worth it. And then, you don't have to worry about a wire connecting you, and you can use your smartphone, which is great. I use it with the
excellent
iPhone. So that's what I'd recommend. What's the channel going to be called?
It's Big Belly Quests, plural. A couple old bigger guys here, and just going out and doing different things.
I love it. It's on YouTube already. Which big belly are you?
I am behind the scenes.
You're behind the scenes. So this looks really. So you've already got quite a few videos on here. That's great. I love this idea.
Just trying to feed some videos. So,
yeah.
Cool.
The Big Belly Crew.
Recommendation. We'll check it out.
Big Belly Quests at YouTube. This is what I love. This is why sometimes technology is a negative thing. You get ARPU and you got to pay for your OnStar. Sometimes it's really cool. Free YouTube means you can do your own TV show. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. The Rode is encrypted and likely spread spectrum. So that is definitely better. So maybe the Rode is worth checking out. That's good to know. Yeah. All right, Sammy.
All right.
This is your time.
All right. So first, let me answer a question from Richard C., which was about Toyota Camry Hybrid and why the engine is on when it's above 50 miles an hour on the highway. And the reason for this, hybrids are, they, as the name implies, it has both a gas or it could be diesel, but generally a gas engine and an electric motor. And so it's using a combination of the two. And in the case of the Camry hybrid, most of the Toyota hybrids, there's no plug. So these things tend to have a fairly small battery. It's usually somewhere between 1 and 1.5 kilowatt hours. And what it's designed to do is collect energy, recuperate energy during braking from regenerative braking, and then provide some boost, to take load off the engine. So it fills some of the torque hole from the engine, give you a little bit of acceleration boost when you're accelerating, and maybe short periods of electric only driving. If you're going at relatively low speeds and you get the battery fully charged up from regen, in something like the Camry or most other mainstream hybrids, you can go maybe a mile and a half on electricity alone. It speeds up to about 25, 30 miles an hour, maybe a little bit more than that. Once you get up above 50 miles an hour or so, get up to highway speeds, especially for non-plug-in hybrids, which is what the Camry is. It doesn't have a plug. And particularly the Toyota hybrids, they tend to have a relatively small electric motor. So they don't really have enough power from the electric motor to propel the vehicle for any length of time at those higher speeds. So your engine's going to be on. What you will find if you watch the energy flow meter on the cluster is, sometimes if you're if you lift off and you're coasting, at highway speeds at, 65, 70, 75 miles an hour, or you're going downhill and you lift off, you will see the engine will shut off in those instances for a period of time when the load is low enough that the electric motor can keep up with it. Once it gets up, as soon as you get back on the gas, the engine's going to tend to come back on. Some hybrid vehicles have more powerful electric motors. I'm not sure what model your Camry is, Richard. The older ones in particular, tend to have less electrical power available. Some of the newer ones do have more powerful electric motors, and so they can do a little more work. But that's really the reason why at highway speeds, your motor is likely to be on most of the time. That said, that doesn't mean the electric motor is not helping you. When you're going up a little bit of a grade, instead of putting more gas into the engine to get that extra power, you're going to get some of that power from the motor instead. So you're still going to be more efficient overall. Let's see. Big Island says, when away on a trip, how long can you leave an electric car unplugged before you kill the battery? So it varies. Certainly, a week or two shouldn't be a problem in most instances. One thing to be careful of with Tesla vehicles, Teslas will typically lose about 1% of their charge per day under normal conditions if you turn everything off. But Teslas, with their cameras that they have as part of the autopilot system, they offer a mode called Sentry Mode, which is basically surround sound security camera system. And if you turn on the Sentry Mode, it's got to keep a bunch of computers turned on and keep the cameras powered up, and various the ultrasonic sensors to detect if somebody's coming around the vehicle and record all that stuff. A friend of mine who owns a Tesla found that he had a Model 3, and he found that when he left his car in a parking garage in an airport a few years back with the Sentry Mode turned on, it lost about 10% of its power per day. That's probably on the high side, but you can you will lose probably several percent per day if you're using a feature like that's drawing on the power from the battery. So if you're going to be gone more than a week, it's probably a good idea to have the battery mostly fully charged before you leave the vehicle. If you can, ideally, you don't want to park it somewhere where you're leaving it plugged in, because especially if it's in a public place, then you're taking up that charger. Unless it's a one-day trip, you're going to be taking up that charger that others could be using. So you don't want to leave it sitting there on the charger for a week. But I would definitely consider turning off features like that if you're going to be gone for more than a few days, and then you'll have no problem at all. If you're talking several weeks, then you might want to consider parking the vehicle somewhere where maybe somebody can plug it in for you from time to time, for an hour or so. Let's see. Daniel is asking if I've had experience with the Subaru Crosstrek plug-in hybrid. I have not, but my co-hosts on the Wheel Bearings have driven it. They quite like it. It's generally quite good. So it's a good choice for you if you're interested in something like that. If you like Subarus, you want something with all-wheel drive capability and a plug-in hybrid, that's not a bad choice. You can definitely go for that. So there's been several questions in here about the Inflation Reduction Act and the changes to the tax incentive program for EV buying. So it's pretty complicated, but let me kind of pare it down for you as much as I can. The current program, if you buy an EV that has a battery pack with more than 16 kilowatt hours of energy storage, you are eligible for a $7,500 tax credit on the first 200,000 vehicles sold by the manufacturer. Tesla and GM have both hit that threshold a couple of years ago, and they're no longer eligible. That 200,000 threshold goes away. And there are some new criteria for what vehicles actually qualify now. So to qualify for the new tax credit program, first of all, the vehicle has to be built in North America. So Canada, US, or Mexico. If it's built anywhere else in the world, it does not qualify. End of story. Then if it's built in Canada, US, or Mexico, then the next step is they want to encourage domestic content of the batteries. So the $7,500 is split into two, $3,750 each, one for battery components, one for critical minerals in the battery, things like lithium, cobalt, manganese, nickel, and so on. There's about 24 materials that may be in various combinations in different batteries. From now through the end of 2023, the vehicle has to have 40% North American content of the critical minerals to qualify for the $3,750 for that, and 40% North American content of battery components, which is cells, modules, and so on. And then after that, after 2024, it goes up 10% a year, up to a maximum of 80%. So right now, we don't know which vehicles are going to qualify, if any, because we don't know what the content is of the materials from various sources. Most likely ones that may qualify right now are the Ford F-150 Lightning, and the 2023 Volkswagen ID4, because they're both being built in North America. They're both being built in the US, and they both are getting batteries from SK Innovation in Georgia. The Chevy Bolt EUV are another one. They're getting their batteries from LG in Michigan. And then over the course of the next few months and next year or two, other GM vehicles that are getting their batteries that are domestically produced will also start to qualify. Most of those will probably only qualify for the $3,750 for the battery components, not for the materials. Most of those materials are still being imported, and so those vehicles probably won't qualify.
The Chevys probably going to be will, right?
Which one?
The Chevys.
The Chevy Bolt probably will, but we don't know for certain what the percentage of domestic components is. So we won't know for a few months probably which ones qualify and which ones don't.
Very happy with our 2020 Bolt. It's been really great. Hey, thank you, Sam. Talk to you next week.
Yep.
Have a great week.
Bye.
Well, hey, hello, everybody. Or as Micah Sargent would say, hello, friends. It's time to talk tech. 8888 Ask Leo, 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Outside that area, well, you can still call, but you'll have to use Skype out or something like that. 8888 Ask Leo is our phone number. Website where all the things I mention, all the links go, transcripts and audio and video from the show as well after the fact. That website is techguylabs.com. It's free. There's no charge. This is episode 1918. We're going to get in the 21st century pretty soon. 1918. Back to the phones we go, and on the line from Greensboro, North Carolina, it's John. Hello, John.
Hey, Leo. How are you?
I'm great. Welcome.
It's been about 20 years since we last spoke. I called you on the screensavers.
That's hysterical. On the 3Com Netcam network.
Oh, yeah. No, it wasn't a video call.
Oh, okay.
I remember the phone and the video. Oh, yeah. Oh.
Remember those days?
Oh, yes, very well. In fact, you and Patrick actually started me on this long, strange, foggy trip that is Windows.
Oh, I hope it's not fully our fault, but okay.
No, actually, I have not been beaten by a hunk of silicon or bad yet.
Good. No, you're the human. You're in charge.
You damn right.
Yeah. Silly humans.
I got to thank you and Patrick, a whole gang, for starting me on this thing. But I've been able to fix everything that's come across my desk.
Nice.
Or desktop, I should say.
Nice. He's talking, for those who don't know, he's talking about 20 years ago. Well, in 1998, we started Tech TV, went through 2004. Patrick Norton, my co-host, and I taught people a lot about computers. And you must have been a youngin' at the time, but now,
I'm only 5 years behind you.
Oh, okay. Well, then you weren't a youngin'. You were an oldin'.
No, I'm getting old every day, too. But today, the HDR toggle switch is missing in Windows 10. Now, I believe this has happened before, but I forgot how it fixed it or it fixed itself. And I've Googled and I've binged till I'm blue in the face. And there's no, it's
all right. This is your problem, not their problem, because I have Windows 11 running on my HDR screen, and the toggle is there.
Yeah, this is Windows 10.
Yeah. And if it's in Windows 11, would they take it out of 10?
No. It's been there. It just disappeared today. It's been on my computer since 2019.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I got a 55-inch display.
Yeah, me too. I got that Alienware OLED, incredibly expensive OLED display, so I could play that.
I have the incredibly cheaper PCL. But
it's nice, though, isn't it, to have a giant display? Once you get used to it. At first, it's like, wow, I got to sit back here.
Yeah, you're like sitting in the front row.
Yeah.
You're looking around everywhere.
But I was that kid that used to go down to the front row of the movie theater, so I'm happy.
Yeah, I know. I don't want anybody in front of me.
Well, there's nobody in front of you with this, that's for sure. So it may be, there are a couple of things could happen. I noticed that it's grayed out on a screen that's not HDR, but it should still be there.
No, it's gone.
It's completely gone. I wonder if they took it out.
All you see is it says Windows color settings, but below nighttime switch, it should be between that and the HDR color settings. But the switch is gone. There's no toggle, so you can't turn it on. And you did a DX diag. It says it's not supported. It's been working since 2019. It just disappeared overnight. So
I'm looking at Microsoft's support.
Yeah.
HDR settings in Windows, and they have a tab for Windows 10 and Windows 11.
Mm-hmm.
Select the Start button, select Settings, System Display. This is where you're looking. You're looking in the right spot. If you have multiple displays, no. Select Window HD Color Settings. Under Display Capabilities, make sure it says Yes next to Use HDR. So you're looking in the HD Color Settings?
Yeah, there's no Use HDR. That's what's missing. The toggle is missing. And like I said, I did a DX diag, and it when you go into advanced color settings, where it says not supported. I'm like, it's been supported for the past 2 years. What happened to the? It's not the TV. The TV works on Netflix and Hulu and all that, so it's definitely Windows.
So you're doing, this is exactly what they say. You press Windows R and you type DX Diag, which is the diagnostics, and you select OK, and that's going to do the DirectX diagnostic tool. And it will tell you both if your display and your PC support HDR. Now, I'm wondering, is there a switch on the display that you could turn HDR off and on? Because it may be that the display has accidentally turned off HDR, and so the Windows is saying, well, you don't have that capability. You also want to make sure you're using a HDMI 2.1 cable to connect to the computer. I know you didn't change cables, but maybe, cables go bad, so maybe that's a problem. So if you have another HDR-capable HDMI cable lying around, I would try that.
Yeah, I've been looking for that. It's in a box somewhere. But,
that's no place for it.
We just moved here about a month ago, so it's like everything's still in boxes.
So make sure you got the latest drivers for your video card and your monitor. So something has decided. It could be Windows, or it could be the monitor, or it just could be the cable. But for some reason, something has decided, you can't do it. So I'm not going to show it to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But I'm going to put a link to this support document because it has a lot of possible suggestions. I don't know if you've seen this.
I'm hoping somebody in the chat may have encountered this.
Yeah, exactly.
There are plenty of entries on Google and Bing, but nobody has come up with a. It says does the same thing. Go to the display settings and turn the switch on. The switch is missing.
Yeah. So and I'm trying to remember. When I didn't have the driver for my HDR-capable monitor, it didn't offer me that switch, but I think it was there but grayed out is what I'm saying. So
I know.
it should be there and grayed out if it's not capable, I would think. And I'm pretty sure that was my experience with, and again, this is Windows 11, but I'm pretty sure that was my experience with Windows 11. So, cable could have gone bad, and it's not sending enough bandwidth to do HDR. For some reason, Windows decided, you can't do it, so why show you that switch?
Yeah.
That's my guess.
That guy.
Yeah. And do you have an Nvidia GPU?
Yeah, I got a 2080 Ti.
So that's another thing to go into is the NVIDIA control panel and really dig through those settings and make sure those are all up to date. You know, it could be you got a new driver, for instance, for the NVIDIA video card, and all of a sudden the driver decided, came to default without HDR. There's some, I have to say, HDR is good for some things, but it's not good for other things. And it's great for movies, obviously, TV shows, video. But I think sometimes with a general computing environment, HDR isn't ideal. So it may be that they default to off in the NVIDIA settings. I don't know. That's worth a try. I turn it on because, well, I paid a lot of money for that monitor, as you did. It ought to be on. I paid for that. Why isn't it on? And yes, John, thank you, for calling us 20 years ago, and now it's 20 years later. You're calling again. I hope you'll call again in the next 20 years. Maybe don't wait a whole 20 years for that. I don't know if I'll be around for that long. And if you're in the chat room or you're listening to the show and you say, "Oh, I know what's going on," please mention it. And John, monitor the chat room. I will as well, and we'll keep our ears to the phones. Look for an answer. That's one of the beauties of this show. It's obviously I can't answer every problem. I don't even know what some of your problems are, but there's somebody out there listening that does. Thank you for reminding me. There is no Chris today, Laura, or next week either. It's just me all the time. And I'm not sure about Rod. He, as you know, is in the Arctic. He called in last time. Yeah, so we may or may not have him. Yeah, I'm sure I have I could try that. Let me try that. It's a good idea. So I will log out of the Mac. And I will log into, instead of my profile, I will log into the profile I always make when I create a new Mac, which is the ghost profile. Hello, wake up. Ooh-ee, ooh-ee. All the cameras at once. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't make a ghost profile. Oh, Leo. I don't know what the password is to this. Micah's was change me, but I doubt I'm sure he's changed it. Oh, he didn't. Okay. Micah's worked, but the Windows server did quit. But Micah's did work, so that's interesting. Let me log out. So that was a good test. So now let me try it with me. Notice that it went through a bigger thing when I logged out. So there's something going on here. Now there's the happy smiling Leo and crash. Crash. Yeah, I might have to rebuild this machine. Our show today brought to you by those good folks at CashFly. And you know when I say brought to you by CashFly, I mean quite literally, CashFly is our CDN, our content delivery network. Whenever you download an episode of our shows, whenever you watch an episode of our video on the website, you're getting it from CashFly. We actually been using CashFly for more than a decade now. So when I say I am a CashFly fan, you can believe me. We really love them. Now you can do video with CashFly. Ultra low latency video. Incredible. Less than 1 second latency. You can go live in hours, not days. It's time to ditch that unreliable WebRTC solution for their WebSocket live video workflow. And here's another great piece of information. It can scale to millions of users. So low latency. You'll dramatically increase your sites and applications speed for global audiences because with 50 locations all over the world, CashFly is certain to have a server closer to your customer. They outperform local CDNs by a long shot. Plus, with their storage optimization system, you can get a 100% cache hit ratio. Take a load off your Origin servers, reduce your S3 bills. We've been using that for a long time. I think it's a great solution. Fully managed CDN solutions, too. If you don't want to have the heartache of trying to manage the solution, let CashFly do it with their managed packages. You'll get VIP treatment, 24/7 support, and response times in less than an hour. So to recapitulate, what do you get with CashFly? Well, great people giving you 24/7, 365 priority support, ultra-low latency video streaming that can deliver video to more than 1 million concurrent users. If you do gaming, you'll love it. Lightning-fast gaming will deliver downloads faster, zero lag, glitches, or outages. Mobile content optimization offers automatic and simple image optimization that makes your site loads faster on any device. And, of course, because they have 50 points of presence, they have multi-CDNs. For redundancy and failover, your traffic is intelligently balanced across multiple providers, giving you the shortest routes and mitigating against performance glitches. How well does it work? How about 100% availability in the last 12 months? 100%. 30 times faster than major CDNs with a 98% cache hit ratio. CashFly is 10 times faster than traditional methods and on 6 continents. And we just love them because they've saved us. I'll tell you, we wouldn't exist without CashFly. So they'll always be there when you need them, 24/7, 365 days a year. Find out more at cashfly.com. Thank you, CashFly, for all you do for TWiT. CACH, as I've often said at the beginning of the shows. Bandwidth provided by CashFly at CACHEFLY.com. Cashfly.com. I think they'd be right for you. Check them out. Now back to the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo, the phone number. If you want to talk high tech, well, let's do it. Let's do it. On the line right now, our next caller, who is from Fresno, David, is on the line. Hi, David.
Hello, Leo. Hi. Thank you for taking my call. I appreciate it.
Thanks for calling in. I think you have some expertise to share.
I was in law enforcement for 38 years. We recently retired. My last assignment for the last 4 years of my career, I managed what's called a PSAP, Public Safety Answering Point. The public would know that as a 911 center.
Wow.
The particular PSAP I managed was the largest between Los Angeles and Sacramento, about 105 dispatchers.
Wow. Is it anything like the TV show? No.
I don't watch it. I mean, the 911 operators are trained, first of all, to be very, very calm.
Yes.
You let your voice calm down excited people. You're not allowed to use you're not allowed to tell people to calm down.
Right. Because that's the worst thing you could tell somebody who's head up. I know, because when I tell my wife to calm down, she slugs me. So, not a good thing.
No.
Yeah, no, of course. And they stay on the line. I mean, it's really impressive. It must be a very, very tough job, but they do it very well. And it's a
very tough job.
Yeah.
It's a very rewarding job because if you consider when someone needs help,
sure,
the very first person they talk to is that 911 operator.
You're a lifesaver in many cases, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to call. I've been hearing your really interesting conversation you were talking about GM OnStar.
Yes.
And one of my issues, not only with their particular commercials, but with commercials for medical alert bracelets.
Apple Watch, you've seen the Apple Watch ad, or, you know?
No.
Oh, they had a whole series of ads. You know, the Apple Watch will also call 911, as you probably know. They have a whole series of ads. There's one, it's actually a little traumatic. A woman's in an accident, and the car is filling with water, and she can't reach her phone, but her watch has said, I see you're in an accident. Should I call 911? And she's communicating. They have the actual recording, I believe, on the Apple ad. She's communicating, and it's a whole play in 30 seconds, because at the end, she says, okay, the operator's still on the line, as you said, very calm. She's saying, they see you, or can you see them? Yes. Okay, we're going to get you out, and they save her life. It's very dramatic, and it makes, I'm sure, in fact, I know it sells Apple Watches because we were watching a football game, and we had a friend over, and he bought an Apple Watch after that ad immediately, like while the game's going on. So, yeah, what the job you guys did, and they do, thank you. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, that commercial you just talked about really makes my point. And the point is, if any of your listeners needs emergency services, whether it's medical or law enforcement or a rescue, they need to call 911 themselves. My concern about GM OnStar or any of the medical alert bracelet companies or a lot of the alarm companies that are willing to make that call on your behalf, their call to a PSAP in California is a secondary answer line. So once the 911 calls are answered, then before the non-emergency calls are answered, they will answer it from those vendors. None of those vendors are allowed to jump ahead of our local citizens in our community who are also calling 911.
Which is a shame because they may be calling on behalf of a local citizen in distress,
yes,
right?
Absolutely.
Now, the way the Apple Watch works, it does not call on your behalf. It connects you, and you can then speak to 911 directly. But one thing it does, and I'm curious about this, and I know not all centers do it, but it also sends GPS coordinates.
In fact, that GPS coordinate is so sensitive that if you're on a surface street and if you take an on-ramp and go on a freeway, you'll be connected to California Highway Patrol.
It knows. Wow.
It knows. It knows within 50 feet.
That's good, isn't it?
Oh, it's great.
And was your center connected? I know that the centers have to implement the GPS system.
Yes.
But did yours use it?
Yeah. In fact, if you use a cell phone and you absolutely don't know where you're at, we immediately can get a triangulation on where you're located. It is fantastic. You know, the old days, if you call from your residence, your address comes up on the screen. It still does that for all landlines. Few people use landlines. Everyone uses a cell phone, but we can still find you.
Yes. So this was a big transition to E911. And I remember one of the concerns was because it doesn't have your street address, it was calling a regional center, which would then have to route you. Is that still the case?
So when I retired about 3 years ago, we would get a cell would come in and we would have an immediate ring down to that particular carrier who can give us the lat and the log.
Nice.
And
the
map automatically points exactly where you're at. It takes a little longer than a landline call.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, people can still be located on their cell phones.
Do you guys get psychotherapy or anything? Is it? I imagine there's some PTSD if you do this for a long period of time.
That is correct. What we started to do, a lot of agencies, is we'll walk a dog through. They're usually... Yeah, we'll walk dogs through just to give them someone to pet. But, yeah, it's pretty cool. Now, the dog can't really linger because some people do have allergies. But the employees that reach out and clearly would like the pet. And you see that in airports, too, to calm people down. Also. Yeah.
Thank goodness for our 911 operators and for our four-footed furry friends.
Correct.
We all have a purpose in this world. That's great. That's really great. Well, I really appreciate your calling, David. It's great to hear from the experience voice here the case. And so, ideally, you would talk directly to 911 and not
encourage citizens to call 911.
Do it yourself.
Yes.
Thank you, David. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, and bless you for the work you do.
Thank you.
I wonder if that's why Kim has a dog in her lap the whole time. Is that your comfort dog? It's her comfort dog. What a great call. Thank you, David. I really appreciate it. A great call. And now back to fixing my Mac. Well, I like your idea of logging into Micah's account and then creating... I can tell you're going through withdrawal, Chris. Well, I see you, man. I see you. And I'm having some... In fact, just because of you, I'm going to go get some coffee in a little bit. I got this... You might think this mug, this Year of the Monkey mug, you might think this was This was a mug of coffee, but it was actually tomato soup. So this mug, I guess, came from 2016. But the good news is it'll be good again in 2028. I was born in the year of the monkey. So I am charming, lucky, bright, versatile, and smart. There's only one catch to this whole idea. Are you telling me everybody born in 1956 is charming, lucky, bright, versatile, and smart? I don't think so. It's not been my experience, no. No, Chris, we're having fun having all new callers. I was getting feedback from the audience saying we feel like we can't get in because, Chris and Micah and Trevor and all the regulars hog the lines. I don't think that was the case, but I understand the feeling. So this is working. I think it's working pretty well. Aww. That's a sad story. Sad song. Olivia Newton-John. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. She was too young. Too young. 8888 ask Leo. Let's no Chris Marquardt this week. He is doing a caravan in his Tesla Model 3, getting ready to start up his workshops again. So he's doing a little test run, which is great. But he'll be back. I don't know if he'll be back next week or the week after. I think he's going to be gone a couple of weeks. I should mention that we still have the assignment with whether or not Chris is here. He gives us every month, he gives us a word to take a picture of. It's really just a way of, an excuse to get out there and take pictures. And I have to say, every time I bring my camera, I come back and I find one shot where I go, I'm really glad I had the camera that time. So this time, bring your camera, and it can be a camera phone, by the way. It doesn't have to be anything fancy at all. And look for images that illustrate the concept, the word friendly. I like that. Friendly. And you can, if you find one you like, you could post it up to one a week on Flickr, flickr.com. Actually, you can post as many as you want to flickr.com, but submit one a week to our Tech Guy group. And if you would, tag it with the tag TG for Tech Guy, TG Friendly. That way we'll know it's your submission. Renee Silverman, our moderator, will say, oh, good, thank you. We'll put that in the pool. And when Chris gets back in a few weeks, we'll review all the submissions of friendly photos, and he'll pick a few to talk about on the air. It's not a competition. There's no prize. It's just really an excuse to go out and take pictures. Friendly. I've been actually having some fun. Last few weeks, I've decided to take just one simple point-and-shoot camera with me, and I've been setting it into black and white mode so that I'm taking only black and white images. Just as an exercise, obviously still I will want color pictures. In fact, this camera is nice because what I see in the viewfinder and the image I see on the screen is black and white, but it's secretly, behind the scenes, it's taking a color image as well. So if I look at it and go, boy, I wish I had that in color, I can get it. But it makes me kind of compose in black and white. And actually, I'm pretty happy. On my Instagram, I posted a picture I took the other day. And I was so glad I had the camera. And it was just fortuitous. A father and son bicycling by, they had a couple of dart sets on the front of the bicycle. The kid's on the back. He's staring straight at me. Like, what are you taking a picture of? But the father, he's on a mission, and I was just very happy with how it came out. So that was an example of saying, yeah, I'm glad I had the camera that day. Friendly. That's the picture. 8888 ask Leo. Michael on the line from Downey, California, our next caller. Hi, Michael.
Pleasant good afternoon to you, Leo.
Pleasant good afternoon to you, Michael.
In a nutshell, by the way, I'm also a year of the monkey, 1956.
Smart. What was it? I was reading my mug. That means you are charming, lucky, bright, versatile, and smart.
Oh, man, that's me.
All of us. Everybody born that year. Amazingly enough, according to Chinese astrology.
And drinking way too much E&J brandy for this time of year.
We've earned it. We are the boomers. We're the senior citizens now. We get to have our E&J.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, I'm a lightweight gamer. I don't do any online gaming. And since 2014, I've had an MSI CX61 2PC, which...
Well, that says it all right there.
Yeah, keyboard, not...
It's an MSI laptop. And I should point out that our photography host on the podcast, the wonderful Aunt Pruitt, we gave him, when he joined the company a year ago, gave him a choice of computers. I even gave him my old Windows Studio, Surface Studio, which he poo-pooed immediately. And he said, I'm buying an MSI. So he's very happy with his MSI. Now, yours is not brand new. When did you buy it?
I think I bought it early 2015. Anyway,
okay.
That's kind of a moot point. I fell on it one night when I was boozed up. And
See, E&J and MSI, they don't go together.
I think that night it was Old Forester.
Old Whiskey River. So, okay, you fell on it. That's not good. Did it break the screen?
The screen is dead. Anyway.
Shot, yeah.
It's history.
It's history, yeah.
My point or question is, I'm on a limited budget, $700 or under. I don't do any online gaming. Most of the games I play are, for example, Hitman from back in 2004.
Oh man, that's a fun game,
isn't it? And,
yeah.
And I don't attempt to obtain ninja status. I just kill everything. I kill everything that
you're an assassin. And I'm sure that, their pacifists who are listening to this will be appalled, but you creep up on people with your sniper rifle and you take them out.
My current status is mass murder.
Oh, nice. Something for the kids to aspire to. Yeah.
Exactly.
So you're looking that's not a super challenging game. So you're looking for another laptop that can play Hitman.
Yeah, another, unfortunately, Windows themed.
You really like that Windows? It's fine. And you know what? In that price point, you're probably going to have to get a Windows machine because,
with my guesstimation.
Yeah.
And as I said, my other, primarily, I do a lot of internet browsing. I do a lot of YouTube video. But as far as gaming, old school games, I don't do anything up to date, and I don't do any online gaming. And as I said, $700 or under, something that was at least.
Were you happy with that MSI?
Until the keyboard started, until the quote unquote rock solid keyboard started dying.
Yeah. They still, you can get, I think it's a CX70 now, but they still make decent laptops, and they make them in that laptop you had was around $600 then. And I think they're still roughly in that price point.
Well, the only thing that I found that was, a so-called, what could be called a loss leader was the HP 17CN00.
Yeah.
00.
Yeah. The HPs are fine. I used to not recommend the Pavilions because they came with so much extra they call it trialware, I call it junk on the hard drive. But they've toned that down. They still do come with a lot of it. And I think the HPs, ever since they split off from the enterprise division, HP's PCs have gotten very, very good. So I wouldn't, if you found a nice HP, was that at a big box store or that you saw that or online or?
Oh, online, and I found...
Take a look. I wouldn't hesitate to go down to your local Costco or Sam's Club or any of the big box stores. They often have very good deals and excellent return policies, which for you might be important. You can often, even after a few months, say, yeah, I don't want it, and they'll give you your money back. And they have usually... what they've done to get that price down to your price point is they're selling last year's model, which for you is fine. I mean, if you can get a 12th generation Intel, they are certainly better, but you don't need it. You can get an i5, an 11th, or even a 10th generation i5. Make sure you get 16 gigs of RAM. That's the thing they'll probably, skimp on. Hard drive size probably doesn't matter if you're not storing a lot of stuff. You should be able to hit that price point pretty easily at your big box store. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, everybody still puts, McAfee on it, but I just uninstall it. Yeah, she had breast cancer Olivia Newton-John, for 6 or 7 years, Chris. And so I've now created an administrative account for B. Recreated. So let me shut the computer down. We'll see if this fixes it. Yeah, Costco has, some really good deals. Yeah. Newegg still sells the MSIs. I don't know what model Ant has, but he loves it. I ask him every time I see him, "You still like that laptop?" He says, "Yeah." I said, "Really?" Oh, you remember... Let's get physical. She did Xanadu, that movie, roller skating movie. She made leg warmers, headbands, and spandex bodysuits look good. That's what we just played. Hopelessly Devoted to You. All right. Accessibility, no. I have to start all over again with a fresh account. Continue. Sign in with your Apple ID. Oh, I have different IDs. So this is iCloud. I'll have to reinstall all my apps, aren't I? I have read and agreed to the iCloud terms and conditions. Sign in the App Store. That's a different one. Yeah, the apps are still there, but all of the login data and stuff is gone. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 88. Ask Leo. Oh, some good calls today. Thank you to everybody who's called in. Let's get some more. 88. Ask Leo, the phone number. 888-827-5536. That's toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. You could use Skype out to call anywhere else in the world. Should still be toll free. 8888 Ask Leo. And when I say I'm going to put a link on the website, that kind of thing, the show notes live at techguylabs.com. And that's free. There's no sign up. You just wander in there. This is episode 1918. There will be not only notes and links, but after the fact, there'll be audio and video from the show. And on Sundays, we put the playlist from Professor Laura, our musical director, all the songs she's been playing all day today and yesterday. We'll put that playlist up on the show notes. Sometimes takes us a day or two to get it all together, but it'll all be there by Tuesday. techguylabs.com. Rob's on the line from Brooklyn to Arkansas, Arkansas. Is that Arkansas? Yeah, AK. Or is that Alaska?
That's Alaska.
Alaska.
AR.
I should know the difference.
Arizona.
AZ, AR, AL, but you're an AK.
AR.
You're an AR.
Alaska is AK, Arizona is AZ, Arkansas is AR.
Did you get that, Kim? Did you get that? You wrote AK, but he is in Arkansas. Okay. Hello, Rob. What can I?
Since I saw that on something I ordered, I started writing out ARK.
ARK. That helps.
Yeah.
AK is Alaska. AR is Arkansas. Yeah. Hello, Rob from. And did I say Brookland right, or did you say Brookland or Brookland?
Well, it's spelled out Brookland, but with our southern accents, it sounds like Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. I like it. What can I do for you, Rob?
ever since I had a Windows update on my HP EliteBook 8470 that was refurbished, the speaker volume went from blasting at 100% to barely audible at 100%. And when I right-click on the speaker icon, and hit the test, it blasts me away. I contacted the company I bought it from. The things that they suggested, all but one of the things they suggested, I'd already done. I've uninstalled and reinstalled VLC and Windows Media Player.
Yeah, that's not them. That's not them. It's the computer. So it's interesting. So the test sounds normal, but the volume control on your little mixer, you're talking about in that little mixer in the taskbar in the lower right there, you're using that volume control. And that volume control there, you turn it all the way up and nothing.
Yeah, and I found a program which helps out a lot when I'm online and when I'm watching your program, where it increases the volume 600%. It helps some, but not a lot.
Yeah.
And if I put my earbuds in, it's just like the listen to the speakers before the update.
That's interesting.
30.
So an external
around 30, it keep it from blasting me, which is the way I had.
So if you plugged in external speakers or you're using Bluetooth headphones, all of that's normal. The only time it's not normal is when you're
using the actual physical speakers on the
built-in
laptop.
speakers. Interesting.
There was one thing that they wanted me to do, and I can't get it to do. I would go down to the search icon, and I would type it in, and it'd show it as either open, run as administrator, or open file location. I click on it, and nothing happens.
Did this start when you installed? I mean, how did it didn't do it from the beginning? It's what happened that changed it?
Windows update. Wonderful Windows update.
Windows messed it up.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just curious if you've done this.
I'm not a computer geek, so
I understand. I will attempt to speak English here for you.
Okay.
When you click the speaker in the lower right-hand corner, where you would normally do that, if you open the sound settings is what you want to do. So I think if you right-click it, you'll get open sound settings.
Right. I've hit troubleshoot. It says everything's fine.
But I want you to go to sound settings and make sure that the proper speaker is chosen, because I think that's what's going on. Because when you use
device,
look at the output device. Because when you use your headphones, it works fine. When you use your, I bet you if you plugged in speakers, it would work fine. So it sounds to me like it's confused about what your inbuilt speakers are. So make sure that those are correctly chosen.
It only gives me one option. It says speakers, high definition audio, DE device.
Good, that's correct. And is that where you do the test? If you go into sound and then properties, there's a test. Is that where you did the test? Do you remember? Because this is the control panel I'd be spending some time looking at. It tells you which speakers. You can check for driver updates there. Maybe that driver's out of date. Maybe Windows, this is an unusual, installed the wrong or an old or a bad driver. And as a result, and again, it's the speaker driver, not the driver for the sound card, but the speakers. Because the sound card works fine.
And reinstalled that.
Oh, you have? Okay. You should also look at left channel and right channel. One thing that sometimes
I've done that.
And those are both.
At the I put the sound window popped up and showing speakers, which has a check by it.
Yep.
And I've hit the test that they have.
I'd play with all of those little. You got a lot of settings in there. Well, that sounds pretty good. That's the test.
Now that's the way it was before I had that update.
So the test is correct. It's the volume that's not. And underneath the volume, and the volume for you is set decent volume, yes?
Before the update, it was when I was using the laptop speakers, it was about 30%. Now I have to have it at 100.
Yeah, you shouldn't need that. Mine are set, for instance, right now at 62.
20% before the update.
So set it at 50 just to, and make sure that the left and right channel are both working. Now, what you might do is turn off the left channel and turn off the right channel. One thing that sometimes happens is if one of the speakers got damaged at some point or turned off, and the sounds you're listening to are coming in the other channel, you will sound like it's extremely low. So I would make sure that test both the left and the right. And the way you do that is turn the left all the way off, then test it, turn the right all the way off, and test it. Make sure both of them are working at the proper level. I don't know if you'll have it, audio enhancements and spatial audio and things like that. Try different settings on those if you have those. I turn off spatial audio, and I turn off audio enhancements. I don't want any audio enhancements. I think this is the only thing you can do. It may well be that there's sounds like honestly, since it works fine in the test, I put on my thinking cap. I'm thinking here. And everything works fine in the test. And it works fine on headphones, but it does not work fine on those speakers. I'm thinking there's some setting in the sound properties settings that's wrong. You've got the right speakers. Check again, make sure you got the right driver. Maybe even go to an older driver. Maybe that's what happens. Windows Update, put a new driver on that doesn't work. Windows Update can get it wrong. It's not perfect. And often the fact that this changed after Windows Update sounds to me like Windows Update did something. My mug says I'm a thinker, so I'm just thinking right now. Anybody has an idea? Give us a ring. Maybe we can help Rob. 8888 Ask Leo. That's all I can help you with at this point, Rob. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Yeah, time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smartwatches, augmented reality, virtual reality, real reality. And why your speakers won't work, 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Outside that area, you can still call us, but you have to use Skype out, something like that. Website for the show notes, techguylabs.com. This is episode 1918. 1918. We are now in the 20th century. Let's go on with the call, shall we? Todd's on the line from Idaho Falls, Idaho. Hello, Todd.
Hi. I have a problem. I've been a Nikon 34 or D3400 user for years.
Nice.
And I got a Z5.
Oh, very nice. That's a good gift for yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm finding that there's just a lot of settings that I'm really struggling with.
Yeah. So the Z5 is their entry-level full-frame mirrorless camera. It's a very, very nice camera. They have also a Z7 and Z9. Nikon's going all in. In fact, I think I've heard that both Nikon and Canon are both abandoning mirrors, and they're all going to go mirrorless. So you're in with the cool kids now.
Well, it'd be the first.
But I completely understand when you sit down with these very fancy, now these are really pro-level cameras. There are a lot of settings. What my wife, for instance, I just got her a new camera, the OM1, and it's a really fantastic camera. But these days, even these pro cameras are really computers first and foremost. And so like a computer, they have page after page after page of settings. So the first thing I usually do is I go in, I set the date and time. You got to do that. And then I pretty much leave it as is for a while. Generally, after you use it for a little while, you'll start to feel like, there's some things I want to modify. You might initially want to choose, for instance, whether it takes JPEG images, which are the images coming right out of the camera, you could post anywhere, don't require any editing, or use a format the pros use, which is called RAW, which gives you every bit. You shoot RAW, yeah, because you're serious. Now, the only drawback to RAW is you have to then put it in an editor and clean it up before you use it. But if you really care about your images, I usually do both. That's my new thing is JPEG plus RAW. And that way I've got a quick and dirty version of the image. The camera did the JPEG. But I also have, if I say, hey, that's a pretty good image, I have the RAW that I can work with. The next thing I do is I go to YouTube. And I don't know if somebody's done this yet for the Z5. But almost every camera, there's a video by usually a pro. You want to get somebody, who's good at what they do and really knows what they're doing, like Steve Huff or somebody. And they'll make a video or they'll have a document on the best settings for the Nikon Z5. So that's what I often will do. There's no point in looking at that right away. Just like anything, when you're learning it, you got to play with it for a little bit before you will even understand what they're talking about. But once you kind of do, so I see Photography Life has an article, recommended Z5 settings. There's several YouTube videos on this. You won't want to do everything they say, obviously. The thing to think of it is it's like an onion. You kind of have to peel it. You're going to learn a little bit at a time, and as you get deeper and deeper, more and more will make sense. Are there some specific settings that you're just curious, well, what does this mean? Because maybe I can help you with those.
I was trying to take a picture of running water. You know how you could blur it out, like put a filter on the end to make it stay open longer, and it was just messing up. I couldn't get the f-stop down low enough, and it was, I don't know, I couldn't get it to work.
So I don't remember if your old camera had this. I think it did. It had manual settings, right?
Yes. Oh, yes.
So you know that you can have aperture priority, which is to set the priority for how wide open the camera's aperture is, how much light it lets in. Or you could set shutter speed priority, which automatically adjusts the aperture but lets you manually adjust the shutter speed. And this is a case where you want to go into shutter priority because you want to have a longer shutter speed so you can get that soft water look. And let the camera decide. There's 3 settings it can change to make the exposure work: aperture, shutter, and ISO, or sensitivity. And so you pick the one you want. In this case, because you want a slower shutter speed, say around a second, you are going to put it on S on that dial, and you're going to set it to a second and let the camera decide what aperture and what ISO to use, depending on the brightness of the day. You don't need a filter for something like this. You just need unless it's such a bright day that it can't possibly narrow the aperture enough to take the picture.
Okay. All right.
ND filters are nice because then it gives you more latitude. But honestly, I think unless it's a super bright day, you should be able to get a pretty good soft water picture just by setting the shutter speed.
Okay. All right. Well, I also wanted to tell you, I called you, I don't know, months and months ago with an issue about, because I had an old Canon flash and I wanted to know if it would work on my Nikon camera.
Yeah.
And you gave me the solution. It worked very well. I put a remote control device on the top, and it works great.
Yeah, because the remote control device is specific to the camera, and the strobe doesn't care. As long as it can see the remote control device, it goes, okay, whatever you say, I'll fire whenever you want. Good, I'm glad that worked. That gives you also the advantage of putting the flash off camera, which is going to be a much better look, right?
Yeah, especially for, I don't use it very often, but I try to take pictures of like water droplets and things like that, and you have to have the flash in a separate place.
Exactly. You want it to, because then you get the light coming from the side, and those droplets look so much better. Yeah. So I'm seeing a number of articles. If you just look for Nikon Z5 settings, I'm seeing some YouTubes. Almost every time I get a new camera, I have the same issues you do, especially if I change from one company to another. In your case, you went from a completely different Nikon camera to the mirrorless. That's going to be such a shift.
So
yeah,
I can't seem to stay in the same place.
Yeah. I think you're going to love this. And I'm thrilled that Nikon has finally seen the light. and they're starting to invest in mirrorless, because I'm a big fan of mirrorless. These are really the future. And Nikon, of course, has great lenses. Are you able to use your old lenses?
Yes, I have an adapter.
Perfect.
Yeah. But
here's one on DP Review, which is a site I loved for digital photographers, Digital Photography Review. There's a post on their forums, Your User Settings Master Your Z, that literally has every single setting and their recommendation. Again, Master Your Z. I'll put a link in the show notes to this. I wouldn't immediately, it's always good to learn the camera kind of as its default settings first. And because then it will make more sense to you. Some of these settings they're going to say, what's the diffraction compensation and why is it supposed to be on? Right? These are computers now. I mean, they're so complicated.
Yeah, there's a point where I have to just go, okay, sure, whatever.
Yeah. What I would definitely learn is your autofocus, because that's one of the things Nikons are so good at. And then, if you want to take pictures of beautiful soft water, learning how to get the exact right shutter speed, I don't think, unless it's a super bright day, you're going to need a special filter to do that. And try different shutter speeds, 1, 2, 3 seconds, because you'll get different effects each time. That's a fun thing to do.
It is. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Hey, a pleasure talking to you. I envy you, your journey. It's so much fun to get a new camera and then kind of start to play with it. Chris Marquardt, our photo guy who was missing in action this week, he'll be back in a couple of weeks, told me a very important thing, which I remember now every time. Before you go on that trip, it's not unusual to buy a new camera or a new lens for a trip, right? I'm going on this great trip. I want to get the greatest pictures. He said, Leo, don't make this mistake. Before you go on that trip, spend a month with the new camera or the new lens, using it around town. Get used to it, get to know it before you take it on that trip. You don't want to be learning a camera when your opportunities for great images are high. Learn the camera first, and then you can go on that trip. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. TechGuyLabs.com, the website. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. More of your calls coming up. Yeah, honestly, I agree, Edmonton Oiler guy. He says, I've been using Nikon for 30 years. I go through the manual for every body. I go through the manual multiple times because it's, like I said, it's like an onion. It's, you peel it layer by layer. All right, I want West Coast full. There we go. There's my wallpaper. All right, shall we test this? I created a new account. As you could tell, because of this crazy dock, all the junk Apple puts in the dock. My God. I don't want this. I don't want that. Why would I use Maps on a desktop? I don't need FaceTime. I don't need the calendar. I don't need the address book. I said I don't need the address book. I don't need reminders. Come on, baby. I'll keep notes. I definitely need Apple TV, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, Apple News, Keynote, Numbers, Pages. There's an entry in the menu for the App Store, and this you don't need either. Okay, now, let's see. If, and also, I always like to set this to list and folder, and then add applications down here. And the most important one, which is documents. And again, list and folder. List and folder. All right. Now, let's log out and see if I can log back in. All right. Hey, he's smiling. Oh, same thing. Oh, no. Yay. It worked. Thank you. So I deleted the old Leo account and created a new one, and it worked. And that's why you have a ghost account. It's totally why you have a ghost account. The heat is on. How hot is it down there in the beautiful Sherman Oaks, home of iHeart Media?
93.
93 degrees. 93 degrees. The heat is on. I always, Professor Laura and I communicate through the universal language of music. She could just, push the button and say, hey, it's 93 degrees down here. But no, instead, she plays some Kenny Loggins, and I go, oh, I get it. It's hot. Yesterday, you played Hot, Hot, Hot. So I know. Hot time, summer in the city. David on the line from Charlotte, North Carolina. Our next call at 8888 Ask Leo. Hello, David.
Hello, Leo. Thank you for taking my call. I haven't known many Leos, but I have fond memories of when I was a boy. The guy that owned the gas station that my dad always went to, his name was Leo.
Oh, nice.
Memories of that.
Did he always have a dirty rag in his back pocket and wear coveralls?
Oh, yeah. Always.
My kind of guy. My kind of Leo.
Of course, it was full service back then.
Sure. Can I check your oil and clean your windshield?
Yeah, absolutely. This was back in Minneapolis, though, but we're not there anymore.
Not anymore. You're nice warm weather in Charlotte.
Yeah, actually, it's gotten a little cooler. We've had a whole rush of 90-plus days, but it's 87 here today.
Oh, it's balmy. Nothing. Easy peasy. What can I do for you today?
Leo, this is probably a dead end, but I enjoy hearing you wax eloquently from A to Z, and just really enjoy.
Well, I specialize in dead ends, so good.
This one might be one that is impassable. A couple of years ago, I had to get rid of my laptop, and the hardware guy in our organization put all of my stuff on a Western Digital external hard drive.
Nice of him.
And,
yeah.
And so I didn't get into it for quite a while, but when I tried to get into it, it said I had to use a password. So I called the guy and I said, I didn't remember that you put a password on there. He said, well, I don't remember I did either. And so I don't suppose there's any way around that, is there?
No, hard drive passwords, weirdly enough, are actually pretty good. You would expect, since so many other passwords you can set are easily cracked. You said Western Digital. Let me just see if anybody has put out a crack for the Western Digital hardware password. Usually those are pretty strong. Let's see.
Well, I called the company and they said you can't do anything.
Yeah, there is a Western Digital security app, but you need to know the original password to change that.
Yeah.
Let me see. But hackers, they're devious. Let's see if there's any way. Yeah, I see a couple of YouTube videos. How to unlock password-protected new WD SATA hard drive. How to unlock WD hard disk. Remove HDD password. It looks like there might be some hacks. They're using 256-bit AES, which is strong encryption. So if there's a way around it, it's going to be that there was some flaw, not in the encryption technology, but in the way it was implemented. Sometimes there's a backdoor, things like that. It may be that the only way to unlock it is to erase the data, which is exactly what you obviously don't want to do.
Right.
So as far as I know, it's always been my understanding that hard drive passwords are good. They're, in other words, bad for you. Is there anything super vital on there, or is it just memories?
I don't think so.
It's probably just memories. Yeah, don't go to too much. You spend $100 to unlock it, and it's just a bunch of spreadsheets from 1979. Who cares, right? It does look like there are ways to do it, maybe brute force it. The problem is it wasn't your password, it's his. So if it were your password, you could try some of the ones you've used in the past, but it's his. You don't know what he uses.
Right.
Yeah. And
there's no YouTube things I should look at then, right?
Well, there are. Yeah. No, as I said, there's at least 3 videos. I'll tell you what I entered in is hard drive password, Western Digital, and here's the secret word, crack. You want to crack your Western Digital password. And I was able to find a number of YouTube videos that promise that, beware. Sometimes they'll say, all you need is this $120 program, that kind of thing. Certainly don't spend any money on it. But it looks like there are ways. I'm seeing quite a few videos. So there might be some, you might spend some time watching these videos and see if there's a common thought.
Well, that gives me at least something to look at. Anyway,
some hope.
Thank you very much.
Hope.
And I really enjoy your broadcast.
Hey, I'm really glad you listen, and I hope it cools off even more, David. You don't get snow in Charlotte, do you?
We do about once or twice a year. It lasts for a day.
That's not bad. So you get some seasons.
No.
Yeah.
Especially when you're from Minnesota like I am.
The coldest...
We spent 20 years in the Amazon jungle basin and 10 years in Sub-Saharan Africa. So,
were you doing missionary work? What were you doing?
Like Minnesota winter at all.
No. What were you doing in the jungle?
Missionary with Wycliffe Bible translators.
Wonderful. 20 years. Wow.
20 years in Amazon jungle basin and 10 in Sub-Saharan Africa. Wow. That's Brazil and Mozambique, Africa.
That's a real commitment. Do you miss it at all?
Oh, yeah, we do. But we've got grandkids here now. So.
Nice. Yeah, that's a special thing. Well, pleasure talking to you, David. I hope that helps. Maybe you can find something on there, some way to unencrypt it. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. We're going to see if we can call the Arctic. See if we can get a hold of Rod Pyle when we come back. Mick the Wick. Is today Steve Martin's birthday? Oh, okay. We got Rod Pyle. I will wish Steve a happy birthday. I don't think he still listens to the show, but I will still wish him a happy birthday. He'd be 77. Yeah? 76 or 77. Yeah, 77. I tell you what. Got so much energy. I hope I'm as nimble as Mr. He's only about 12 years older than me, but I hope I am as nimble as he when I reach his advanced age. Yeah, I saw that interview, Kim. We'll see. Okay. Last time I talked to Steve, I said, what do you do these days? He says, I write 1 joke a week. But he did mention that he was going to do Only Murder in the Building, so I guess he's busier. At the time, he says, I write 1 joke a week for my show with Marty Short, and that's it. Oh, good luck, Mick. Oh, Mick, God bless. I'll be thinking of you. I'll be praying for you. God doesn't listen to me, but I'll still be thinking of you. Love you, Mick. Take care, okay? On the line from the Arctic Circle. Should I pick him up? It says unavailable. What does that mean? Let's see. I'm going to pick him up and see if it's Mr. Rod Pyle from the Great White North. Yes, it is, ladies and gentlemen, via Iridium satellite phone. Hello, Rod.
Hey, Leo, how are you?
I guess I don't have to shout. Are you getting sick of life in the Arctic Circle?
No, it's fantastic. So today we're about 25 miles south of the Houghton Mars Project base. We took ATVs over hill and dale and valley and gully and large river rocks and all kinds of other obstacles to get down here. There's 6 of us and 2 shotguns in case the polar bears show up. And we came down to rendezvous with a an all-terrain vehicle that was stranded here back in 2018 and left behind because, this is a neighborhood where you can leave things around and nobody messes with them.
Except the polar bears, yeah.
And a red Humvee that they were driving down the coast to try and identify a trail they can use for testing larger Mars rovers. So they had a Humvee they were using to blaze that trail. And that ended up winter set in, and they had to leave it here in 2018, too. So we found the Humvee, but it's got claw marks in it.
Oh, my. How long had it been there?
Some angry bears went after that and the side of the ATV. So
Holy cow. Holy cow. Did they get in?
No. It's a Humvee, so it's pretty well armored. But the area we're in is a valley that it's just low, kind of orangish red hills as far as the eye can see. There's a little bit of a river running down the middle, some runoff from the snow melt. But, I mean, if you didn't know any better, aside from the fact you can breathe and radiation isn't killing you, you'd think you were on Mars. It's really
very cool.
Amazing up here the whole time. Yeah.
And we should explain Rod is up there as a journalist covering this for the space.com website and his own magazine, Ad Astra, for the National Space Society. This is where NASA goes because it is so much like Mars that they can test out rovers and other technologies. Are they testing planting potatoes up there?
They did actually have a greenhouse experiment. I don't think potatoes is it. It was leafy vegetables. But they do have a greenhouse behind the main base, which is another 6 or 7 buildings. And there's little bits and pieces of experiments everywhere that have been run and then either going to be cycled through later or mothballed for subsequent use. So, yeah, there's all kinds of stuff happening here. It's pretty exciting.
It's the middle of summer. The sun does not set. It is a 24-hour day. How cold is it?
It's a little above freezing right now without the wind chill, but I think probably if the wind starts blowing a little more, it'll be below. We've had some really cold, dusty nights. They tell me that the wind was only blowing between 25 and 30 miles an hour, but when you're staying in a framed tent building, that's pretty cold.
Yeah. Do you?
Yeah.
You just bundle up. You've got a good sleeping bag, and you bundle up. Yeah, it's coming and going. Those satellites are flying overhead. Last time we talked, there was no internet access up there, right? Oh, and he's gone. Well, there you go. I mean, what better thing for a technology show? It's actually easier to talk to people on the moon than it is up at the North Pole. But there you go. Via the Iridium satellites, which you might remember were a satellite system that was launched, how long ago? It feels like Iridium was the 80s, right? And then the company went bankrupt because it turned out there really wasn't much of a market for satellite phones, except for maybe people like Rod Pyle, who is in the Arctic, and he's back. He's back.
I'm back. Sorry. Yeah, Iridium's a little sketchy. I thought it was going to be a little more profound than this. Anyway, so today, besides seeing the Humvee here, Pascal Lee, who's the guy who operates this whole thing, and a couple of associates are flying drones. And one of the things they're doing, they're commercial drones like the ones you've used, but one of the things they're doing is doing remote sampling with them. So setting down with an adhesive pad and picking some little bits of grit and gravel and bringing them back and then looking at them and seeing what they find. So it's a lot of fun. It's neat to be here and see it firsthand.
What, did you bring a photographer, or are you taking all the pictures?
I'm the picture guy. So, yeah, me and eBay had a couple of very long dates about 3 weeks ago while I replaced my Canon D70, which was not quite up to snuff. So I brought along way too much stuff, but I'm trying to use most of it. But you know how it is. iPhones work great, and in a pinch, you just pull them out, right?
And it's not too cold for an iPhone, or even actually a Nikon camera. If it's only freezing, it's not too bad. When will we see these images? How are you gonna let us see them?
Well, I'm sending some with the Space.com stories, and they're being posted about every 2 days on Space.com.
Oh, nice.
But I had to really down-res them because we're paying $7 a megabyte. So
I'm telling you, we get better pictures from Mars than we do from you.
I know, and they probably cost less too. There'll be more on in Ad Astra in a couple of weeks. So yeah,
I think you're having fun. This is the closest you or I will ever get to space. So I think it's pretty exciting.
I think you're right, and I have to say, after being here, I know there are a lot of people that think they want to live on Mars for the long term, but, I can do it here, and I can breathe, and I'm not getting baked by radiation or killed by perchlorate to the soil, so it's pretty darn close, and I kind of feel like I've been there. It's really something.
That's so cool. Rod Pyle, what parallel are you at? Or is it it's not a parallel, it's latitude. What latitude?
We're about 75, 76 degrees north.
Wow.
So still 15 degrees off the pole, but it's cold enough to convince you it's the pole for sure.
Will you get a chance to go to the pole, or this is as far north as you're going to get?
We'll do a little excursion a little further north, but I mean, we're talking just probably 20 miles or something, so this is about as close as we'll get. But honestly, it's close enough. With all these rocks and ice patches, having it be continuous ice, that's for the hardy adventurers. I'm not made of stern stuff like that, so I'm quite happy to stay down here where it's a little less severe.
I'm looking right now at your article from a couple of days ago, and I know you say this is a low res, but it's actually a beautiful image of the Houghton Mars Project site on Devon Island, with a beautiful sky. If everybody wants to know more about this, space.com. I'll put a link to Rod's articles. I guess it's in the section Human Space Flights, but very, very cool, Rod. Very, very cool.
I'm so glad you found it. I wasn't sure they were getting the post.
Yeah, you probably don't know, do you? So
other than sat phone is by GPS text, which gives you 140 characters, so it's not very verbose.
Yeah. Yeah. So no, this is good. It's getting there. This is the most recent one. Is 2 days ago. A month on Mars. First journeys in our Arctic home. I expect more from you and more pictures. I cannot wait. Keep up the good work.
Thanks. I'll see you next week.
Rod Pyle, spaceman, getting as close to space as we're ever going to get via Iridium satellite phone. 66 satellites up there in orbit. Giving us L-band communications with some of the most remote spots of the Earth. I'm glad that Iridium survived. I know it was touch and go for a while when they first launched in the early 90s, but it's great that we can talk to Rod. It's really cool. And again, his articles are on space.com. Rod is also the editor-in-chief of the Ad Astra magazine, and his articles, when he gets back, with probably higher resolution photos, will be at space.nss.org. If you're not already a subscriber, this would be a good time to subscribe. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. We'll get some calls from closer to home next. Thank you to Sly and the Family Stone. Thanks to Professor Laura, who's always got the perfect musical selections. Thanks to Kim Schaffer, the phone angel, who puts you on the air. Thanks to all of you who call and all of you who listen. Thank you for letting me be your tech guy once again. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. We got a little more time. Last segment of the day, last segment of the weekend. Let me take some more calls. Steve in Los Angeles. Hello, Steve.
Hey, Leo. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Great. I've been listening to you for a long time, and you've helped me out in a lot of bad situations.
Oh, no. Well, I'm glad you listen. Thank you. I'm glad I could be there for you. What can I do for you today?
What I'm looking to do is get, and I've heard you talk about it before, is getting my own modem for my internet service.
Yes.
Is there a benefit to that? And if so, what would it be?
So the first thing to ask is how you get your internet. If you have a cable provider, most cable providers will let you do this. Many other providers will as well. Depending on how your internet comes into the house, there will be a device connected to that input port. In the case of your cable, you have a cable jack, and that's connected to, usually it's a single device provided by the internet service provider that combines two things, a cable modem and then a router. But honestly, you're renting them often for $10 a month, so it's expensive. And B, they're not necessarily the best routers out there. You can usually get a better router if you're willing to spend some money with more capabilities than the one provided by the cable company. So take that whole box out and provide your own modem. The first thing to do is check the cable company. Cox will let you do this. Comcast will let you do this. Spectrum will let you do this. But they'll have a list of approved. Yeah, you have Spectrum. Yeah, they'll have a list of approved modems. I use the Netgear CMS 1000, which is a very good one. You're going to want one that supports the latest cable modem protocol. That protocol is DOCSIS, DOCSIS. And most cable companies are currently using DOCSIS 3, but at some point they'll go to 3.1. The newer protocols allow higher speeds. So, for instance, you'll need DOCSIS 3 at least to do a gigabit cable service. So always and DOCSIS 4 is coming. So it's always I would get at least a DOCSIS 3.1 modem. The CMS 1000 that I use is DOCSIS 3.1. You can see at wirecutter.com or wired.com, Wired Magazine, or the New York Times Wirecutter, both have reviews of cable modems. Once you get the modem, now you're still going to have to get a router. But that opens you up to a whole. You have that. Yeah. Okay, yeah. And it opens you up to a world of much better routers than the one the cable company usually gives you. You can use mesh routers like Eero or Orbi from Netgear, things like that. So,
yeah, I have the Nest, which is fantastic.
Yeah, perfect. So, yeah, this way you get your own modem. And by the way, the law requires them to stop charging you as soon as you get your own modem. They don't always do it. So make sure, check your bill the next month. Make sure they're no longer renting you something you're no longer using. And it was only last year that Congress finally passed a law saying, oh, yeah, by the way, you can't charge them for that modem if they're using their own. By then, what depends what they're charging you, but usually it takes about a year to 2 years to amortize the cost of your own, but you're going to have a better one. So I think that's the way to go. And as I said, I use the CM1000 on my gigabit from Comcast. I'm very happy with that. That's a Netgear modem, but there are others out there. Mine is about $200. It is DOCSIS 3.1, which is something you absolutely want. I think also you're going to get a more modern device. Often that means fewer bugs, glitches, and security problems. The cable companies aren't really incented to give you the best device. It's just the device that works well enough so that you don't bug them. You can do better.
Okay. Can I ask you another question?
Sure, Steve.
With email, I heard the call yesterday about the lady who lost the email.
Oh, I felt so bad for her. Yahoo Mail. Yeah.
So as far as transferring, which I do want to do that, I want to get rid of Yahoo and put everything in Gmail. It's just a matter of following the steps. I looked up the steps.
It's easy. Here's what I would suggest. Keep the Yahoo account, because people still have that as your address. But you can set it up in Gmail to periodically check that and move the mail over. So it's continually moving it over. So you go into the Gmail settings, into the POP and IMAP settings of Gmail, and you'll give it the Yahoo credentials. It, in effect, is going to log in for you, download the mail from Yahoo. So that way, at some day Yahoo goes offline or whatever, you have all the mail. But until then, people who email you at your old address will get through to Gmail. Now you want the Black Diamond tip. The one extra step that is a good one to do is to get your own domain name, stevenla.com. And then that way, when you do that, you can have the domain company forward your email to Gmail or anywhere else. And if someday Gmail becomes like Yahoo Mail, out of date, antiquated, you go to the next one, you don't have to change your address again. It's always going to be stevenla.com. That's a little high-end tip, but that's what I do. I have actually a number of email domains, and that makes it so that I don't have to contact anybody and say, oh, my address has changed again, so start using this one.
Right.
And if you still have access to your Yahoo account, please don't get in the situation our caller yesterday got into. Download all of your contacts, everything that's in Yahoo, download it to a local copy now in case they should, for whatever reason, disappear.
Right. Okay.
She was a good cautionary tale for all of us.
Yes, that is very true.
Oh, man.
And one last thing, the caller before about the Western Digital.
Yeah.
The password, I just did that yesterday. I put a password on my the hard drive. It asks you for a reminder.
Yeah.
Like a nickname. So
Right.
if that's still, if he can
Ask
find that,
ask the guy who put it on, hey, did you put a reminder on there? He doesn't
Right.
The problem is the tech who did it doesn't even remember putting the password on.
Oh.
So, who knows what happened. Most hard drives, there's actually two passwords. There's a physical password for the hard drive, and then there's an ATA bus password.
Right.
So it gets complicated. But it's a good idea. I mean, that way if somebody steals the computer, they can't get into that hard drive. And that's pretty good. That's a good idea. Yeah.
That's why I did it.
Good.
Well, thank you.
Steve, thanks for listening all this time. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
One more call. We are going to go to the real Alaska, Fairbanks, and say hi to John. Hi, John.
Hey, Leo.
Hey, Johnny. I was just up your way. Didn't go to Fairbanks, but went to Juneau, Sitka, Ketchikan. Beautiful, beautiful up there, at least in the summer.
Yeah, when it's not raining.
Yeah, it was raining most of the time. It was pretty gloomy, but it was okay. What can I do for you today? We only have a couple of minutes, so I want to get this in here.
Okay, I just found out is it Lisa, your screener, that you have a son who is a TikTok star.
He's a celeb on TikTok. He has more listeners on TikTok than I do on this show.
Okay. Now divorce yourself from that.
Okay.
And tell me why TikTok should be legal in the United States.
Why should it be illegal is my question. Why do you think it should be illegal?
Everybody has criticism of it, but nobody is defending it. And
I'll defend it.
The only people that are defending it seem to be tied to the Chinese government.
No. Look, your phone is made in China. Your computer is made in China. The fact that this is a company in China doing the social network is not in and of itself should make it illegal. I mean, are we going to ban everything from China? If that's your plan, okay. Good luck. Is there a problem with TikTok? As far as I know, not. First of all, are they spying on you? Well, they only have the information you give them, which is far less than you give Facebook. No. Maybe a risk that they could somehow use their algorithm to feed you propaganda. That's legit. That could happen. So don't buy into the propaganda. Just watch my son's cooking shows. That's safe. I have no fear of TikTok. I really don't. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Oh, I wish I had more time, because that actually is a great question, a loaded question, with a lot of possible, ins and outs. So the longer answer on that is keep an eye on it, right? So there are a few things that people worry about. They're spying on you. Every app on your phone is spying on you. We know for a fact that all the Facebook apps not only spy on you, they know a lot more than TikTok does. Well, is it bad that it's a Chinese company doing this? Well, you have other apps on your phone from Chinese companies. Your phone is made in China. Your laptop is made in China. By itself being made in China isn't necessary. No, I understand. The PRC, the People's Republic of China, and the Chinese Communist Party there, repressive regime, not nice people. I agree with you on that. We are not, though, in a position at this point to say, well, let's ban everything from China. I'd be really an interesting project to go through your house and take everything out that's made in China. Should we move more manufacture to the U.S.? Absolutely. Have we done it yet? Not yet. It's a social network, so it's not exactly, the end of the world. And I think there are a lot of people who defend TikTok. I'll defend TikTok because it's a great opportunity for creators, just as YouTube is. There are not a lot of, it's like, I guess YouTube's the next, I guess you could say Instagram. They want to be TikTok. But it's a great opportunity for creatives. And I'll take my son out of the mix, but I know many, many other creators. It's a great opportunity for them. So, yeah, if they do something illegal, then they should get in trouble for it. They're not doing anything illegal. You want to ban them because they're from China. That's problematic. That's by and of itself not illegal yet. I think the thing probably would be worth paying close attention to, and it's not just TikTok, it's with every social network, with Facebook and YouTube as well, Twitter as well, is are they being used to promote a hidden agenda? And I think there are enough people keeping an eye on that if that becomes the case, it'll become obvious. I don't think that's clear right now. Certainly when I look at TikTok, I'm not seeing political content at all. At all. If their political agenda is to get people dancing, okay, yeah, it's working. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, TWIT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.